It's a new episode of We Were Gamers, a podcast about three gentlemen, often with guests, though sometimes not. Hello, JJ.
Hello.
Hello, Michael.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. We like to talk about games because it makes us feel young, and that's why we do this.
Or, in some cases, reminds us how old we are.
Yes, unfortunately, that last one is happening a lot these
Did
days.
anybody else see the happy 16th birthday to Halo 2 this morning? Because I sure did.
Yeah.
That's a oof, my man. Big oof right there.
Yeah, we're now further from... Man. I'm just thinking about, like, our parents when they bought us our first systems. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yep.
I am now of roughly that age. Because I had kids a little later than my parents. And so thinking back to, like, what they must have thought, right? When they handed over that box at this age. Thanks, Michael.
Least I can do.
Oh, did everybody have a good week playing games? I hope so. It was a good time for distractions, if at all possible. Tell me, tell me what we've been playing. I know FF12's on the docket. I think both of you have touched some new games, and I think this is the time of year, time of day, time of hour where let's start with some games this time. Sometimes we go different directions at the beginning, homeowners minute, etc. Oh, JJ,
What?
I have a homeowner's question at the end. No, let's just do it now. Because then it'll lead into the hell that I am living in.
I mean, I don't want you to live in a hell. That seems bad.
What do I do with this Coyote Pee?
Oh, dude, you spray it around, man. Okay, all right. Some context is needed.
Yeah, you're going to have to set this up.
Hello, this is We Were Gamers, a podcast about urination.
Your wife was mentioning to my wife at some point recently,
Kibitzing, I think, is the right word there.
Yes. Possibly on that time when we all recently saw each other a few weeks ago, socially distanced, and they were talking about how your house as garden is getting torn up by, was it birds or local cats or what?
So we discovered that we were being rampaged over the course of the summer. Our produce was being eaten up, and so as things kind of wound down and we pulled out plants, we also discovered we were being rampaged by we believe now to be raccoons, because other neighbors have seen raccoons in their yard. They were digging in the flower beds or the planter boxes where the things had been. Now, one thing, free homeowners advice for people planting, especially tomatoes. When you rip out your tomato plants, till down about 4 inches.
Mm-hmm.
We turned up about 50, maybe 60 of those hornworm grubs that had just hatched from their eggs when we tilled, and we discovered that the raccoons had been tilling our yard for us to eat the hornworm grubs.
Okay.
Interesting. So they weren't really after the tomatoes. They
No. Well, they ate the tomatoes and the squash and everything else while they had free access to it. And then when the plants were gone, I guess they have good enough noses to know that those hornworms were still under the dirt, and they ate those instead.
I see. So they were just looking for whatever.
Yeah. Well, because they already knew the smorgasbord was there, and then they were like, wait, it's gone.
Okay.
Or is it?
So here's where this comes in.
So till your plants.
Yeah. Hey, turn the dirt over. It's why you do that.
Mm-hmm.
My wife's father worked for a landscaping company for many years. He was a financial type businessman running the company, but you don't run a landscaping company for many years without learning some stuff.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things he learned is that Yeah, he worked for a lot of clients. His company worked for a lot of clients that had homes in canyons and areas, way out where there were lots of problems with not just things like coyotes, but like wolves and cats and other kinds of things. Those animals are all very territorial, and because of that, you, the smart human, can take advantage of this and mark your home like a coyote would, because you can buy literal coyote urine from Amazon. They ship it to you in a squeeze bottle.
Yep.
And you can go around and mark kind of the edges of your property, and they won't come by. They will smell it, and then they will stop coming in.
Now, do I just sort of spray it randomly, or do I have to do the like Kalima set myself up for a demon thing and spray in a circle around my entire property? Like the salt, like dropping the salt.
Sure. I mean, do you want to draw a literal line of salt, around the pentagram or whatever?
Yeah.
Or I am not the person to ask this question to, but I would guess there's enough volume in that thing for you to just like, and you probably want to do it up where they walk, so like maybe along the top of the fence as opposed to the ground level.
Okay. I guess they don't. They also are not smart enough to process the physics of how a coyote would have got up there.
That's not, yeah. But I mean, also, I don't know. I'm not you ask my wife is the answer to this question.
I see.
But I suspect you can probably just, go around the backyard to the places you don't want them going to and spray it a bit. And then they will eventually just go like, oh yeah, okay. Like I shouldn't be here. This is bad. I'm going to get eaten. And then they don't come by.
Okay. Well, that was your coyote minute. I was joking a little bit about being in hell, but I do want to hear about Hades.
Yeah, we said we would talk about video games. I've been playing a video game. I won't claim that it's new. It's been out for quite a while. But
it's new out of early access.
Yeah, it came out not that long ago from early access. Yeah. Hades is another roguelite type game. A lot of run-based stuff. But there is permanent progression between runs. So, you can actually kind of, juice your stats and stuff in between runs. And the thing I think that this game does amazingly, you are the son of Hades in the underworld there. And because you're the son of a Greek god, you have to escape your father and go on a quest to kill all the other gods, or your father or whoever else, right? That's how Greek gods work, basically.
That checks out.
Does it? Okay.
Meanwhile,
so
all the other
gods are immortal. Like, what is the son's name? So we can not say he.
Zagreus.
And is Zagreus
is the son of Hades and you know what? I won't say because it's a story.
No
point,
spoiler, but
yes.
is he a Hercules type or is he a
he
god?
He is a god, but not. You die a lot in this game, so I can't say that you're immortal.
Sure.
Okay.
But you in Greek, in the Greek mythos or whatever, right? You die and then you wake up in Hades' realm. So it's not like you're dead.
You're never dead in Greek mythology. You're just waiting.
But you are the son of a god, and so therefore somewhat godly.
Yeah, so that's my question. If he's more of a Hercules type,
I would not say that he is like. I wouldn't compare him to Hercules specifically.
Okay.
Moving. But on. Yeah, and then you talk with all the other various Greek mythological figures that are hanging out down in Hades, like Achilles is down there, Thanatos, Nyx.
So after every Greek story has happened is when this is happening.
But also during when they're happening.
Okay.
Because like Orpheus and Eurydice are around, and Cerberus is there, and you can pet the dog.
Is Cerberus a good boy?
He's good.
Awesome.
He's good.
I like it.
He's a good dog. Yeah, and you know, it is a run-based game, and you know, you have different weapons that you can pick at the start of your run, and each weapon has like completely different move sets. And I think the thing that is awesome about this game is how different each of the weapons are, and yet each weapon is still completely good. Like I feel like I could win with any of them if only I didn't suck so bad.
Okay, Greek mythology, right? But
Yeah, okay.
I heard there's
There,
a gun in this game.
there is a gun in this game.
Explain.
All the weapons are like you know, supposed legendary arms from the, you know, the time of the war with the Titans or something.
Okay, so
And
somebody invented a gun to take down a Titan?
it's a god's weapon. See, the gods invented it,
So some
and
sort
they
of
even have a
elephant
line.
rifle?
They have a. I mean, it looks like an assault rifle, kind of. It
Oh,
shoots like that,
no.
but and it reloads. But the
Oh, no.
there's a line when you pick it up where he's like, you know, oh, of all the infernal arms is what they call them. Of all the various infernal arms, you know, people have used them throughout wars or whatever. We're really glad the humans haven't gotten a hold of this one yet. This would cause some real trouble.
Oh. Pointed.
Yeah. So it's
Critique.
that is one of the last weapons that you unlock. You kind of have to unlock the weapons as you go along. You start off with a sword, then you unlock a spear. There's a shield, a bow, fists, the fists, and the gun. Yeah, I think that's it. And there's like a billion upgrades all over the place, man. Like everything has upgrades.
Like the shield is a weapon?
Yeah. So the shield, you can Captain America style it, right? Of course.
I see.
Bounce it off enemies. You can also hold it to block, and then it charges, and you do a bull rush kind of dash forward that does damage with it. Otherwise, you know, you just swing it, you know, around like in an arc near you and
Whip it
damage
good.
people that way. But you know, it can block, which none of the other weapons can do.
Are the blocks effective?
The blocks block damage if you're facing the right way.
Well, it's kind of. I mean, I'm thinking of other run-based games. I think Michael, you played
like
Dead
Cells.
Cells.
Dead Cells. Yeah.
The
If
block
you-
in
if
Dead
you-
Cells, the block in Slay the Spire, they're all kind of. I keep
Also-
myself alive, but I don't. It's not maybe
So
the
in
best.
Dead
move.
Cells, though, the shields have a parry.
Yeah. And
Is it-
actually, the some of the top runners will use a shield.
That parry is very strong. It increases the damage the enemies take after you parry them by like some hundreds of percentages.
I see.
And in this, the shield just blocks damage, but only in the direction you're facing.
Oh, there's a facing
And-
requirement in this game.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah, this is like a kind of top-down,
Diablo.
3/4 view kind of, yeah, sure, action game.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's super giant games, right?
Right, yes.
So
And
much like Bastion or Transistor.
Well, you were a big
Yes.
fan of Transistor, right? I think you played a bunch of that.
I was a big fan of Bastion. I have Transistor, I just have not played it.
Oh, okay. I got it backwards. Sorry.
Yeah, I actually have played both of those games, and I like Bastion much better. And this is the one that I think feels better than Bastion. And I
Oh,
think
wow.
Ooh.
which is the first one of their games, I think I can say that about them.
Okay.
Because they have other ones too that we're not talking about, but just not this kind of game. I think the thing that is really impressive about this game is there's a whole lot of gods. You know, I mean, there's, you know, Medusa is in here, and the Erinyes are in here, and you know, there's tons and tons of different gods. All the Olympian gods are in there, of course, right? And I don't think I have heard a repeated line of dialogue yet, or if I have, it has been, you know, very like so long in between that I don't remember it.
How many hours do you think roughly you've played?
I've probably done like 30 runs or something.
Wow.
It's impressive.
And
Wow.
the thing that's crazy is you die to a boss, right? And in some cases, you'll, you know, respawn back in the house, and the boss may be there. You can talk to them, and they comment about how they just killed you. Or you'll have met one of them during your travels or whatever, and they'll comment about, hey, it was good seeing you out there. You made it at least to this far, like you're doing well or whatever. You know, or they'll be discouraging you, or like your father being, you know, Hades telling you, you know, I can't believe you got all the way to Asphodel this time, you worthless son, you know, kind of stuff.
Hmm.
And
And
it's really impressive.
is it one of those games where it's like they're all in on the joke kind of thing, that even though you're doing all this, it's not really a test? Or does it feel to you like when you get to the end of this, it's going to have a meaningful ending?
So I have in my 30 runs or whatever, I have escaped from the underworld one time,
Okay.
right? Because that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to escape the underworld.
Sure.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I have done it once. I have almost done it like 3 or 4 times after that. Gotten like pretty close and died to the last boss. But like the story doesn't end. Like I got to the I got out, right?
Sure.
Some stuff happened out there, and I have a reason to want to go back now. Like for more story information. Like
Okay.
the plot has continued. The various relationships you build with the various gods and people that are around Hades, in the underworld as well, continue, right? Like as you keep giving them, you earn like little bottles of like nectar or whatever that you can give them, that then they'll comment more and you can have a talk with them about stuff. And I don't think I've built like the relationship heart meter or whatever completely up with a single person yet.
I assume if you build up the heart meter, you get some sort of bonus.
Yeah, probably. I couldn't tell you what it is, but I am told that there must be something. There are items I have that I don't have a use for, so it must be for something, right?
Oh, okay. So yeah, you just have to find where to use them.
Yeah,
So
and
is it
also
like
but despite having these items I have no use for, you always have a way to earn more of these items down the line. And even beyond that, you can trade the items that you can't use in a lot of cases for other items you can. There's a vendor in the house that you can use to like trade 1 key for 50 darkness or whatever. I don't know. I'm making the ratio up there.
okay? So is it like Dead Cells in the sense that there are multiple paths that will get you out,
No.
or is it more linear?
So you will always progress through the various realms of the underworld in order, right?
Okay.
You're going to start in Tartarus, and you're going to go to Asphodel, and you're going to go to Elysium, and then you're going to go to Styx, and then you're going to get out, right? It's going to be that order every time.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't feel like it is built like a giant labyrinth that you could go 5 different ways at once, right? Most rooms will have 1 or 2 exits, and your choice will be which reward do you want, right? It's like they show you a little symbol above the door. Do you want this one that's going to give you this currency, or this other one which is going to give you a thing that might power up this run? Those are your 2 options, right?
Okay.
You go into one, you get the thing, then you have the option, either you go into the next room because there's only one choice, or maybe there's another choice there, and it just sort of proceeds that way until you get to one that has a like a symbol that looks like a skull and tells you that it's the boss.
Hmm.
And then after the boss, you go to the next realm and then repeat, right?
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, it's very cool. I'm enjoying it. I will have more to talk about maybe when or if I get to the end of the story.
Cool. Michael is an overachiever.
Generally the case.
Mm-hmm. And so I hear tell you've already finished FF12 on us.
I have seen the credits.
Oh boy. So we got to wait for us to catch up, but I want you to explain something to JJ and see if it makes sense.
Okay.
Yes.
JJ, you got to vet this idea.
I mean, Michael is much farther along in this game than I, so I probably makes sense.
Explain decoy and reverse gambits.
Oh, yeah. So this is something that works really well in end game content.
So
Um,
I know decoy.
right. So you've got decoy. Decoy, whichever character you cast it on, as long as it's active, any enemies that you are fighting that are within range to detect you will focus exclusively on that character.
Mm-hmm.
So your other 2 characters can basically do whatever, and unless an area of effect attack is used, like they cast a spell that affects your entire party, you're not going to be targeted.
Right. The people without decoy will not be targeted.
Correct, not directly.
Okay.
So you can use that in combination with the reverse spell. And the reverse spell basically says, I'm going to take the effects of healing and damage and I'm going to flip them for as long as this is active.
Hmm.
So now you have a character drawing all of the attacks from anything in range, and all those attacks are doing is healing them.
Does it work on magic too?
Yes, any damage that you take.
That seems pretty good.
It is very good.
I like this.
So the only real downside to them are that they are both relatively short duration.
Hmm.
So you have to have either high enough MP or a way to keep your MP up to keep them going for any extended length of time.
What about those
But
gambits that, or not gambits, sorry, licenses that have you regen MP on attack and damage?
yep, yeah. So that is the major way to keep your MP up.
Are
You can
those
also
good
set up.
licenses?
Yes,
Okay.
those are very good licenses,
Some of them. Hold on.
well, I was gonna say especially on your healers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I would say the ones that are like regenerate MP on dealing magic damage are maybe not as useful, or regenerate all your MP when you're in critical health. It's like maybe that will help you, but more likely you're just going to be killed.
Well, I mean, obviously, it's a license, and both of you have basically filled out most of the license board.
Yeah, I think that the real takeaway is that eventually at some point you will have nothing else to buy, and so you will buy that too.
But
Yeah,
critical health didn't seem as useful to me right away when I was grabbing licenses, and I don't have enough to fill out the board as the one that was like damage fill out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Restoring MP on dealing damage is a really good one.
Yeah, that one in particular is like amazing. Also, I think the ones that restore MP when you deal physical damage, and then there's another one. I'm trying to think, is it when you
There
cast?
might be one when you take damage too.
Yeah, I feel like there's one when you take damage, and that one's also pretty good. I'm trying to. There's another restorative one too that I think is pretty good. But anyway, at some point, if you play enough, you will eventually, especially if you do the trial mode stuff, you will eventually just have so many license points don't know what to do with, and you just
Yeah.
fill out everything because who cares?
Nice. Okay, so
That
JJ
sounds
vetted
rad.
your
Yeah,
idea,
so
and
I'm gonna try that.
it is found awesome.
yeah, so that combination, there are a couple of high-end bosses where that's the easiest strat to deal with them.
I might have to go find reverse. I don't know if I have reverse.
I'm sure
Yeah,
there's a
I
table.
don't think you come across that one in a shop. That might be a found one.
I definitely have decoy. That one's a shop one, and it's relatively
Yes.
early. You may have decoy at this point, Andrew.
Yeah, I do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know where reverse is. I'll have to look it up. I have, in my quest to play more Final Fantasy XII, I have decided I'm just going to use maps and stuff because this game is huge and ridiculous. And how am I supposed to know, like, which treasure chest or whatever it is that I didn't get has whichever spell I'm looking for here?
I have made a similar but different mental choice than you. I am going to not 100% the game and only find what I can find along the way, not using guides.
I think if all you're looking to do here is get to the end of the game, you will be totally fine with that. I think that since I want to try some of these like super bosses that Michael was doing, I need to do some of this. And there's some
Yes.
spells I don't have that are very important.
Yeah, you will definitely need those if you're tackling some of the high difficulty optional bosses.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll give it a shot. But
Okay.
Since you got to wait for us, you started something new?
Yeah, I did. So on Prime Day was a couple of weeks ago, and
Yeah.
I finally picked up a copy of Super Mario Odyssey.
Oh, what a good game, man.
Yeah, so I had never played it. I love a good Mario game, and all reports of this one were highly positive. So it had been on my list for a while, and I figured, this is a good price on a Nintendo game, which almost never go on sale. Not steep sale. So I'm gonna take advantage and pick it up, and it's been a lot of fun.
All right, have you come to love or hate Cappy?
I'm fine with Cappy. Cappy does not bother me.
Okay.
I think the eyes on Cappy look kind of weird, but yeah, you can button through Cappy's dialogue pretty quick.
Yeah. I think the only thing that I want, and this is just from years of having played so much Super Mario
I mean, you're a
64.
huge Mario aficionado as far as I'm concerned.
I've played, I think, almost all of the Sunshine. Might be the only major title that I haven't played. But I want a spin move
Wait,
for when you get right. I understand that in this one they replace you spinning around with you being able to throw the cap in a circle around you. But
yeah, okay.
I miss the ability for Mario to just spin and be able to deal damage that way.
Yeah, you can't do that one. You can jump and then twirl while you're falling down.
Can
Yes.
some of
Yeah, there's that.
Can some of the Cappy monsters spin?
Maybe.
I have not found one yet, but I'm not that far in, so it is very possible.
This is a game I have not gotten to yet.
Okay, if you have not found a Cappy monster, you are like less than an hour into the
No,
game.
no, I'm saying
I haven't,
I haven't
found one that spins yet.
I haven't played the
Oh,
game
okay.
yet.
Okay. Andrew, you should play this game.
I
It's a
will.
great game.
Yeah.
It is fun for the whole family. Nothing offensive about this game. Everything is great. Everyone is happy all the time, except for you, who will be frustrated when you fall off a cliff for the 33rd time trying to get whatever moon.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sure.
So I do like the way that they there aren't lives in this game, which is kind of new for a Mario game. Instead, if you fall off a cliff and die, they just subtract 10 coins from your total.
And I think JJ had talked about Odyssey and coins. It's basically for rebuilding, right? And buying buying moons, lots and lots of moons.
You can buy moons with them, but like the coins may as well be infinite, man. You have so many coins.
Oh yeah, I have a ton of coins already.
The idea that you use the coins as your lives means basically you have infinite lives. Because like, if you ever have less than 1,000 coins, like what are you doing?
I mean,
like,
as a gamer,
just look over there. There's 100. Like you just look. There's a stack of coins like piled to the ceiling.
As a gamer of an age, I'm appreciative of just like, let's move on with this lives stuff. Like,
oh yeah,
doesn't make a mode where people can have 3 lives and they can make it harder on themselves, but like make the main games, especially because Mario's for kids, kind of,
It contributed significantly to my liking of the game.
Yeah, and I do like too that they put in a and it's more for kids, I think, but one use of the coins is if you get stuck and can't find more moons, you can buy hints.
Mm-hmm.
For like 50 coins.
Cool.
Which is nothing.
Nice.
There are so many moons in some of those levels. You can literally just turn yourself in a direction and run that way, and you will trip over a moon.
Yeah. It's like, I'm just going to run in this direction, and before I reach the edge of the map, I have found 4 more.
Probably. Wow. And in some cases, it's like, well, I don't see a moon in this little area, but there definitely is one. Trust me. Like, you just have to figure out what's the thing. Do I have to mess with this bird? Do I have to dive under the water? Where is it? Like, there's got to be one here. There probably is one there. But it's a cool game. I'm very excited for you two to play that game. It is so much fun.
So I've found like 100 moons already. And I think I'm only in like the 2nd or 3rd world.
Wow.
I'm in the desert.
Also, Michael, there are moons you cannot get until you do the thing in that
Yes,
level.
and I do know about that.
Okay. That drove me crazy the first time I played it. I was like, I know there's a moon here. I can tell. Like, I see the thing. And
Yeah,
it wouldn't
how do
let
I
me
get
do
it?
the thing. Yeah.
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 Yeah, and then even more, from what I understand, there are even more later after you do another thing.
Yes, there are.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there are some you can't get until you've basically beaten the game and you have to come back.
Yep.
I believe it is possible to get 999 moons in that game.
Is it 999? 888 in this one.
I believe you can get to 999.
Oh, okay.
That may just mean you use coins to buy them, but I'm pretty
Sure,
sure you
yeah.
can get to 999.
You have ruined Michael's life.
I mean, I've been playing since I fired it up Saturday and have over 100 moons, so
Not bad.
The moons flow like water. They are everywhere.
Not bad. Speaking of families, last Friday was all about families on The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Welcome to Carbon Score. No, just kidding. We talked about it on Carbon Scoring the first week it aired because that first episode of The Mandalorian Season 2 was a real treat, and I don't think any of us wanted to not talk about it, but I think everyone here also wants to talk about it now that we're 2 weeks in, especially because JJ is creeped out by little babies eating roe.
What? Why is
Okay,
Yoda
well,
eating the eggs?
Sorry, spoilers.
Only the finest caviar for the
Oh,
child,
man.
JJ.
Spoilers for
Look,
Mandalorian episode
y'all
1
can
and
call
2.
him. Y'all can call him the child. He's Baby Yoda forever.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's
And
baby murderer
why?
now.
That's exactly why is he murdering? What's up with this? Am I supposed to be sympathetic to this little kid? Haha, it's so cute. He's murdering the last of a species.
No, just the last of her line of the
Of
species.
their line, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the murder is justified then.
Yeah, it's
like,
not
no.
it's not like a full genocide of a species. It's just like
He would have though if they let him.
I mean, sure. He seems very hangry all the time.
I mean, he's a growing little baby Yoda. I get it, but
Yeah.
also like, man, I didn't. Okay, so I want to say my piece about the first episode first because we only talked about it for like 2 minutes at the end of the last season.
Yeah, we had a tough time fitting everything in, and it's all good.
I personally enjoyed Raylan Givens, the outlaw, most Isley sheriff of Tatooine, showing up in my Star Wars.
I think that Michael and I offline discussed that the only person who could have ever pulled off the amount of dweebiness that was the character of Cobb Vanth.
I didn't even know his name. I never caught it.
Timothy Oliphant was the only person that was going to ever make it through that. And seem
it really
cool.
And like, to be fair, I guess, like, you know, Justified was the last thing I watched that Timothy Oliphant was in. But like, wow, was he just doing that character but Star Wars-y? It's just like, I'm the small town sheriff and I have to protect my people and I'm out here, you know, trying to save them from this dragon and whatever. But also, like, I'm kind of goofy and like, I don't trust these Tusken Raiders. Like, man, just really great. That whole episode was so good.
I think a lot of it you could say maybe was on the nose about what they were trying to talk about, but I think it was on the nose in the best way. It wasn't like hokey in the bad sense. It was funny, like especially when the Tusken Raider gets eaten and stuff.
Yep.
You know, that type of stuff. It was in there, and it's great. And that's the same humor Taika kind of injected into that show last season. And I think we'll probably continue to do this coming season.
Yeah.
I don't think that was his episode per se, but I think that has become second nature to a lot of the directors on the show. it was cool to see. There was like little references in there. They had the crate dragon pearl from the games.
Yeah.
There was cool stuff that I had never pictured really before, like how a crate dragon moves, and
Or like that he was riding Anakin's pod racer.
yeah. So I've had a heated discussion now with the carbon scoring boys. Maybe you guys should weigh in here. Was it Anakin's pod racer or just a pod racer engine?
I would guess that it was just a pod racer engine, but they clearly wanted you to think that it was that one, though.
At the very least, it's the same model.
Right.
Hold on, it can't be the same model. He hand built his racer.
Oh, that's true.
And if you think a 5-year-old can hand build a race car, let me go ahead and show you.
But JJ, he was
this
Anakin
bridge.
Skywalker.
I have this bridge though. It's a nice bridge, Andrew.
Conceived of midichlorians.
It's a really nice bridge.
Hand built though doesn't mean that he like.
It's a crate engine.
The pieces himself, right?
Yeah, it's a crate pod.
But the engine itself might have been cobbled from something.
He bought the crate pod and tried to swap the engine into his Corvette, right? So he could get, it's the same thing.
Oh, here we go. Radon Ulzer engines. Okay.
Who knows? Okay. I am saying that if it was not, they wanted you, the viewer, to think that it was the one. Whether it is or not actually, who cares?
All right. I still vote that it's Anakin's, but I'm the vocal minority here.
Again, if it is, also great.
Yeah. Episode 1 was awesome. Okay, so now we've done 2. Episode 2 is a kind of a cliffhanger. We didn't talk about episode 1 spoilers. Boba Fett.
At the end?
Real Boba Fett?
Yes.
At the end?
Are you saying that that's the armor?
No, the man at the end of the first episode that is hanging out on the cliff.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Are you happy to have seen Boba Fett?
Is it confirmed that that's who that is?
It's heavily implied that that's who it is. I mean,
I think that was Andy's question.
Yeah, how is it implied?
Okay,
I didn't immediately come away thinking, oh, Boba Fett.
Oh, okay. So the actor is Tamura Morrison. Tamura Morrison is Jango Fett.
Okay.
And Boba and all of the clones are his clone.
Right.
So he's either Boba Fett or a clone. Because they went and got Tamura Morrison.
Okay. I mean, where did that Mandalorian armor come from? That was never resolved. Mm-hmm. So I could believe it, I guess. I don't know. Weird, but sure, I guess.
Weird, like you're kind of like sketched out about it. Like if it is him, you're kind of not excited. Or I'm just curious what you guys feel like, because everybody else, when I talked to them, was like, "Oh, it's Boba Fett," but they're way more into it. And see, like, not knowing who the actor is, you were kind of left to be like, "Oh, there was a person on a hill."
I just thought it was like, "Oh, this is some plot thing for later in the season."
Right. Just like last season when Ming-Na disappears.
Right.
Yeah, if you recognize him and place him as potentially Boba Fett, that's exciting. But if not, then mysterious guy on a hill, foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, that's where I ended up with it.
Okay.
Now in possession of this new information, Boba Fett should be dead. So I think it's kind of silly.
Okay.
I'm still hoping it's something foreshadowing cool later in the season, though.
I'm sure it is. I mean, I get the feeling. I don't know if you guys get the same feeling. But they're going to do the same thing as season 1, right? Where he builds a crew.
I mean, it's, is the lizard lady going to be in the crew?
I hope so. No, but maybe once they get to the planet next episode, we'll find out more about him. Did you like the second episode as much as the first? Anybody? No? Yes?
Like I liked the first episode better, but the second one was still enjoyable.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where I fall on it. The first was certainly better, and the second one was still fun, but not as good.
I was definitely happy and sad that they landed on that ice planet in the second episode and that the Razor Crest is all jacked up already.
Yeah, so I was gonna say you got your prediction there that the ship gets jacked up.
Well, so I'm glad that it's already happened, because my prediction was that that was going to be one of the like penultimate moments of the season, is the Razor Crest gets super jacked up and it's kind of the end of the Razor Crest towards the end, and then we get Slave One's return. Or something along those lines. Maybe Slave 2 if they really want to get deep into the old canon, or Legends, or whatever they call it now.
Yeah, I was gonna say how deep into that stuff do they want to pull?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I bet you they'll pull pretty deep. I mean,
They just make up a new ship for him, right? Like,
yeah, that's true.
More new toys to sell.
Yeah. Oh, good point. I don't think they've ever had a toy of Slave 2. If you know the answer to that, please email. I'm glad it happened now, was where I was going with that, because the ice planet in my head was going to be Ilum, which is where Jedi get all their crystals and stuff, right? And the Razor Crest was going to crash there. It was going to be huge episodes towards the end, and I was going to be really disappointed that they had showed us that much. And now it's just like, I think the trailer now for this season of Mandalorian has now shown everything that was in the trailer because of the first 2 episodes, which is great, right?
I can think of at least one scene that we haven't seen yet.
Okay.
I can think of 0 because I don't remember the trailer at all.
Okay. Well, apparently the spiders were supposed to be on Hoth originally, so that's kind of cool. They brought those back. See, they do those deep pulls.
It would have been. Oh, we're supposed to be.
Yeah, so they were an original concept for monsters on Hoth, and then they were replaced by the Wampa.
Okay.
Easier to fit a guy in a costume as the Wampa than the spiders, I guess.
Yeah. So I thought that was a cool thing to pull and be like, spiders.
It was cool.
Yeah.
I did like the getting pulled over moment by the X-Wings in this episode.
Yeah, I think my favorite part.
Channel 2 for a minute.
Right there. That was my favorite part. He's like, "Hey, can you switch to channel 2 with me for a second?" And they're all just sitting there quiet. And then, like, did you see the X-Wings transform?
The S-foils.
You're like, uh-oh.
Were you in the vein or in the vicinity of that prison ship? Why would you ask that question? Obviously, you would say either no or run, right? I don't know.
Yeah, and some serious Han Solo vibes in the, I don't think that's functioning right now.
Can you send us a ping? I don't have that hardware over here.
Let me, he starts fumbling.
Quiet, what'd you say?
I want to point out how wonderful it is that every person in the Star Wars universe is an unbelievable engineer, scientist, and mechanic who can repair complicated spaceships really with seemingly no time. It's very impressive. They know when things are airtight. They know how to like reseal completely destroyed ships, repair engines. It's really, really impressive that everyone in Star Wars knows how to do this.
Cockpit glass repaired real quick.
By himself. Very, very impressive.
Yeah. That was very strange, right? I thought it hit the glass too.
It certainly did. You saw the leg go through the glass.
Twice.
Okay. Maybe he had extra glass or something. I don't know.
Man, I want to know where he's storing the like extra glass pieces that they didn't get shattered when the rest of the ship got destroyed.
You know, I heard someone say it's like driving a car, right? Like maybe before electric vehicles and hybrid vehicles and all that, a lot of people would have been able to at least guess about how to get their car back on the road in an emergency. If
I am really
possible.
just funning around here because but I am,
I absolutely agree with you. Like it is amazing.
it is the space Western motif means that this needs to be possible.
I mean,
And so whatever. I just like,
even more
yeah.
so eye rolling in the cartoons, right, where everybody can fix the ship all the time.
Yeah.
At least in this and maybe the Han Solo way, you'd think these people live on their ships. They better know how to fix them.
Yeah.
I'm less surprised when like someone from Tatooine or whatever is good at repairing stuff, because like how many new ships do you think come into Tatooine? They're working on stuff all the time there. Versus one Mandalorian on an ice planet gets about 2 hours or whatever and completely repairs the ship.
I love the X-wing pilots just leaving him there.
Yeah.
Also enjoyed that.
Yeah. That's one of those is the director Dave Filoni, the guy that's kind of like the new canon guru. He kind of keeps it all in his head.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I did not know that. That's cool.
Yeah. They gave him that role as an X-wing pilot last season as a joke, and then I guess if they ever need X-wing pilots, he's going to have to do it from now on. Pretty funny. I like where they're headed. I'm wondering why this one was a two-parter. Very strange.
I assume that it's a two-parter because they need him to end up on another planet and get stuck there for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And so he will dump this lizard person here at a planet and then be like, well, we got a month in this place or whatever. What are we going to do while they repair my ship? Because I'm looking for these Mandalorians. Here's my question. Is this entire season going to be the Mandalorians are the MacGuffin and we're just like wandering around the galaxy?
It is odd, right? Because like the armorer told him to go, but then she didn't tell him where to find them. And then his immediate question is like, oh, is that where the remnants of the group on the planet that I was just on went? You're like, well, why didn't you ask the armorer?
Yeah, it feels like the armorer would have known some people, like where all the Mandalorians that were there were going.
Yeah, it's very odd. I keep asking the guys on Carbon Scoring to help me sort through the canon of Mandalorians, and it seems like we're not alone in being confused of like why and they're doing things the way they're doing them, because they don't line up with the Clone Wars Mandalorians, and all the old legend stuff is out the window, so and it's hard to explain.
And I guess the Clone Wars stuff is quite a few years past at this point, right? Like the Clone Wars were before the Empire, right?
Clone Wars are they're in the middle of the prequels, so.
And this is all after Return of the Jedi.
Correct.
So, or I guess unclear how far it is into the prequel movies, but it could be or it could be during or after, unclear.
What do you mean?
Or sorry, the sequel movies. Like, is this,
This is before the sequel movies, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there something that tells you that specifically?
Yes. The timeline at the beginning of the first one, I think.
They talk about the second Death Star exploding, right?
Yeah, they do. That it had just happened, basically. Like,
yes, this is just a couple of years on, I think.
Right.
Okay.
And you've got...
So, you're somewhere in the midst of that first sequel movie then, or pre the start of that movie.
Because there's
because
a 30-year gap.
That's like a huge gap. You'd have to have a Ben Solo growing up who probably hasn't even been born yet.
Right. Yeah. Okay, I forget
like
about
30
that.
years between 6 and 7.
Okay. So, anywho, I mean, the Empire lasted for a good long time, though, right? We're assuming.
Uh-huh.
So there's, there's time there for the legends of the Mandalorians or whatever to have grown and changed or whatever. But I mean, I agree with you. I don't really understand what's up with them, and they aren't really forthcoming with any information about them.
It's almost like they're stalling for time. I'm sure they have a plan already. It doesn't seem like they would just leave this to figure out at the last second.
I think it feels to me like this is one of those situations where he's trying to do the finding and winds up getting found.
Sure.
Right. Like someone finds him while he's trying to find them,
That's possible.
and that pushes the plot forward.
I would believe it.
Yeah. I think that I get the feeling that we're headed for just as good a season as last time, in my opinion.
I mean, that first one's a real high bar. So if their episodes are around even that vicinity,
Yeah.
it's going to be a good one.
Okay.
Do we know how many episodes there are this season? Is it like 8 or 10 again?
It's 8 again.
Okay. I believe it. I don't know.
All right. Yeah, like I hope it is. I very much enjoyed last season. I have thus far enjoyed this season.
Yeah. Yeah. I was hoping that the episodes were going to be a little longer like they were, like the first one was, but I don't think that is to be. That's okay with me.
I wonder. Yeah, is that first one was almost an hour, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and this one was closer to 40 minutes.
But I'm glad that it was a two-parter when it was 40 minutes, right? Because in the last season, this one would have been a one-parter, and he would have gotten her to the planet, and then they would have ended it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, instead we got to take a break right beforehand, basically. Obviously, that's where they'll start the next episode. But each one has felt a little less rushed than last season did, which is good, I think.
Yeah, I think it is nice that they are not like scurrying to try to find something in particular thus far. It's kind of like he's wandering around the galaxy, which is the part that I liked about last season. So,
All right.
It made me particularly happy. Just one last quick thing
Go
that
for it.
they threw in a "May the Force be with you" and also with you.
Oh yeah, that was good.
Mhm.
That was good. I like that. Oh man, there weren't as many straight up references like the first. I don't know if you caught all of them in the first episode, but like there were a lot of direct and indirect references to the movies. You know, like
Yeah.
like R4 the droid there at the beginning. In episode 1 where he lands, that droid is the one that blew its motivator, and so Uncle Owen buys R2D2. Stuff like that is riddling the first episode. You know, Anakin's Sky. We talked about his pod racer and all that. But the second one, I didn't see nearly as much. But the Force be with you thing was really funny.
I think they had the opportunity to do so many of those references because the first one took place on Tatooine.
Right. I believe it.
Unless he goes to Endor here.
Oh,
I don't know how they're going to be able to do so
Don't get
many
my hopes up.
references this time. I'm just saying it would be really hard, right? Like, you know, if he crash lands on Hoth and then goes to Endor, then I could believe they're going to do the references again.
It would be really cool.
Feels like it'd be hard.
It would be really cool to see some of the sets from the sequel series popping up in the Mandalorian, just to kind of tie the universe together. I don't know what possible reason he would have to go to Endor, but
and then Endor won't look like Endor does because the second Death Star just crashed there like 5 years ago or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I think for the end of this pod, we should talk for a minute about what happened to our YouTube over the weekend.
Yes.
You post 100 videos to YouTube, and then you get a heck of a lot of spam porn links in your comments.
I believe it.
That's unfortunate reality.
Google did an okay job of filtering some of them, but I had to go through and grab a good 20 or 30 out of the comments and report them. That was fun. I thought I was done up with all the work after doing all the work. We added to our YouTube page, basically, I think there might be one missing that I can't find the recording for. I'm working on it. All of our old podcasts that are available in our feed still, I believe, on podcasting apps. Added those all to YouTube and into playlists and things like that for a lot of the people that may listen on YouTube. And if you listen to it here and you're like, oh, YouTube would be easier, well, go subscribe. over there, because now you can go listen to old episodes. A couple people have already emailed in the past and said they like component class. Well, now you can go listen to all the component class. I still have to put some stuff in order over there. I think it probably went up out of order, so I'll have to move things around. But don't worry, that'll happen. I got a good kick out of it, you guys, because I had to move over all the art and the episode descriptions and stuff like that. It was a pretty fun trip down memory lane. Do you want to hear some stuff we used to do on this show?
Sure.
Sure, yeah.
I'm just gonna go in no particular order. We talked about loot boxes at least 10 times. And I guarantee you loot boxes are in a same state but worse than when we talked about it hypothetically back then.
Would not surprise me.
Sounds about right.
Yep. JJ, for about a year and a half there before Michael came to save us, we basically talked about Hearthstone every podcast.
Yeah, still sounds about right.
Uh-huh. Oh, we should take a pause. We didn't talk about Hearthstone. We should talk about Hearthstone next week.
Yeah, okay.
Because the update is hitting next week or this week?
I think it hits later this week, and so there'll be stuff to talk about next week.
Okay.
Maybe.
There's a major
if you play it.
amount of work they're putting into Hearthstone, Michael. Like a lot.
Oh, nice.
They're changing the progression system, adding achievements, doing a whole bunch of stuff.
They're overhauling a lot of it. And they've
total
already
overhaul.
overhauled a lot of it this past month as well. So I apologize to everyone that listened during that era. Sorry you didn't get anything other than Hearthstone. JJ, I don't know if you ever read the pod descriptions back when we first started, but a lot of times I would lose an argument to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the podcast descriptions, I would just make really subtle digs that you were wrong still.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? I read them, but I don't care because I knew I won in
But
Taking the high road.
the discussion.
But the best thing that came out of that was the hashtag we have forgotten to use. Hashtag JJ always wrong. We used to use that as a hashtag. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's see. We used to have something called remake reviews. We've forgotten to do, which was like when you went to see Magnificent Seven or something like that. We would compare the old and the new one.
Spoiler, the old one's better.
Yeah, maybe we stopped doing it because that was always the answer.
Yeah.
We used to have a segment called Things We Thought Were Good But Aren't Good. Like Space Jam was on that segment.
Fair. I think that movie does not hold up.
Let's see. Michael, you joined us in episode 90
Okay.
just as a fun moment. When I finally crossed that, I was like, "Oh wait, look at that! Michael's joined us." And in episode 110, June of 2018 was when we started playing Portal, which we still haven't finished.
Nice.
Portal
2.
1 or Portal 2?
Portal 2.
Portal 2.
The co-op on that. So maybe we should knock that out at the end of the year.
That sounds good. We can make that happen.
Yeah. There were a lot of other fun little tidbits. And listening to us a tiny bit. I didn't have time to listen to all of it. We're better podcasters than we used to be, even though we're not good podcasters.
Forward progress.
Woo! That was a fun trip down memory lane. Anyway, go over to YouTube, subscribe. That's my piece.
And if you want to tell us about any of those old episodes or this episode as well, you can email us. That's podcast@weweregamers.com. Please send it in, and when we get a good amount of emails, we'll check them out and talk about them.
Batch them up.
We do read them all, so
Yeah.
unless you're like a spammer or whatever. We don't read those ones.
There have been some, and they get trashed. So don't spam me. I don't like it.
The spam guy was just about to click send.
I know,
He's
he was just
"Oh,
there. He
He
was
told
like,
me not
"Oh,
to.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Should I
all
not
right."
spam them now? No, I still
That's how that works, right?
yeah. I'm trying to figure out if we can add a reCAPTCHA to the submission form, because that's how one of us got whacked.
I think you could probably just take the email form off the website. People know how to send emails.
You're probably right. The website needs an update. That's my next project anyway. So there you go. We're on. Did we already say we're on everything?
We are on everything, though.
All the
if you want to
social
subscribe
medias.
to us, yeah, please do it. We're on every social media you know about, and probably not on a bunch you do know about, but we don't know about because we used to be gamers and therefore are old, so we don't know what TikTok is.
I know what TikTok is when people post their TikToks to Instagram.
Which is like the boomer social media now, so that's how you know.
Man, I like that. We're on every social media we know about. We're on every social
Coolest
media
people
we
we
care
know.
about.
We are the coolest people we know.
This should be good. Honest Trailers finally did the Mandalorian.
Oh man. Okay.
I'll send
Should we-
the link.
Send me the
after
link. We'll watch it together.
Yeah. I'll just drop it into the chat. That way Ken and Kit and JJ will all see it too.
Oh sure. Okay, I'm pulling it up now. Count it
Ready?
down and we'll go on go.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
After Star Wars was ruined forever thanks to the monsters at Disney, Star Wars will be unruined by an all-new streaming series made by the monsters at Disney. Everything will change when this lone, not a Gungan gunman,
Maybe he's a Gungan.
meets the most adorable MacGuffin of all time, the child. Okay, you know what? We're not doing that. He's a Baby Yoda.
JJ's
We're
exact
calling him Baby Yoda.
This is literally JJ's quote.
He's a magic puppet who can kill you with cuteness. And if that doesn't work, he can always just kill you.
The metal music.
No, stop!
But one thing is for certain.
This is the way. This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way.
The Outer Rim Job.
Oh. Wow. Pretty good. The SNL thing got me.
Oh yeah.